The top 10 live rock albums of the 1970s. Number 10, The Rolling Stones, Love You Live, 1977. Grade A-. This album has too much Billy Preston on piano, Keith Richards is high and sloppy on a lot of the songs, and Ronnie Wood is nowhere near as good as Mick Taylor. But it's still a good live album of the later 70s Rolling Stones, just not at their peak. Standout tracks: Mannish Boy, Little Red Rooster, Around and Around, It's Only Rock and Roll, Brown Sugar, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Sympathy for the Devil, Honky Tonk Women, Tumbling Dice, You Can't Always Get What You Want. Number 9, The Beatles, Live at the Hollywood Bowl, 1977, Grade A. This first Beatles live album is a collection of recordings from 3 concerts at the Hollywood Bowl in 1964 and 1965, at the height of Beatlemania. The only real drawback is the continual screaming from the fans, but in a way that makes this more of a genuine Beatles concert experience. Standout tracks: Twist and Shout, She's a Woman, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, Ticket to Ride, Can't Buy Me Love, Things We Said Today, Roll Over Beethoven, A Hard Day's Night, Help, All My Loving, She Loves You, Long Tall Sally. Number 8, Deep Purple, Made in Japan, 1972, Grade A+. This is Mark II Deep Purple with Ian Gillan at their absolute peak as a live band. Standout tracks: Highway Star, Smoke on the Water, Strange Kind of Woman, Space Truckin'. Number 7, Jimi Hendrix, Isle of Wight, 1971, Grade A+. This is just a small part of Jimi Hendrix's great performance at the Isle of Wight Festival in 1970, just 3 weeks before his death. An expanded version of this album would be released in 2002, titled Blue-Eyed Angel, Live at the Isle of Wight. Standout tracks: Foxy Lady, Lover Man, Freedom, All Along the Watchtower, In From the Storm. Number 6, The Who, Live at Leeds, 1970, Grade A+. This is The Who at their peak as a live band, with a harder sound than usual. Standout tracks: Young Man Blues, Summertime Blues, Shakin' All Over, My Generation, Magic Bus. Number 5, Aerosmith, Live Bootleg, 1978, Grade A+. Aerosmith made a great decision to keep the raw sound of this album in order to make it sound like an actual bootleg record, and it shows just how great a band Aerosmith was in the 1970s. Standout tracks: Back in the Saddle, Sweet Emotion, Last Child, Come Together, Walk This Way, Sick as a Dog, Dream On, Mama Kin, Draw the Line, Train Kept a-Rollin'. Number 4, Lynyrd Skynyrd, One More from the Road, 1976, Grade A+. A great live album with Ronnie Van Zant especially great on vocals, and a cover of a Jimmie Rodgers song and a cover of a Robert Johnson song done in the style of Cream. The only drawback is having Steen Gaines as the third guitarist instead of Ed King. Standout tracks: Working for MCA, I Ain't the One, Saturday Night Special, Searching, Whiskey Rock-a-Roller, Sweet Home Alabama, Gimme 3 Steps, Call Me the Breeze, T for Texas, The Needle and the Spoon, Crossroads, Freebird. Number 3, The Allman Brothers Band at Fillmore East, 1971, Grade A+. The Allman Brothers Band is one of the few bands that were a lot better live than in the studio, and this great album is the best proof of that, with Duane Allman at his peak. Standout tracks: Statesboro Blues, Done Somebody Wrong, You Don't Love Me, Whipping Post. Number 2, The Rolling Stones, Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, 1970, Grade A+. This is the best live album by the Rolling Stones, as it showcases the band at their absolute peak with Mick Taylor on guitar. Standout tracks: Jumpin' Jack Flash, Carol, Stray Cat Blues, Midnight Rambler, Sympathy for the Devil, Live With Me, Little Queenie, Honky Tonk Women, Street Fighting Man. Number 1, Jimi Hendrix, Band of Gypsies, 1970, Grade A+. Jimi Hendrix is incredible on this album with a funkier style thanks to drummer Buddy Miles and bass player Billy Cox. An expanded version of this album, titled Live at the Fillmore East, was released in 1999 and is probably the greatest live rock album of all time. Standout tracks: Who Knows, Machine Gun, Changes, Power of Soul, Message to Love, We Gotta Live Together.